Our team on the line today. Really excited about this webinar. I wanted to thank you personally for taking time out on your day on Wednesday to make the webinar. It shows a lot of initiative, and we really do watch and listen to the folks on the webinar. And it's a great opportunity, rather than just a replay, to be able to ask Matt or Sue questions at the end and help us refine our process and provide us with more and more questions, refining the process of educating everyone else. So thank you for making it. And I'm just going to go ahead and let Matt jump right in.
All right, thanks. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. Right, so today's webinar, we're going to basically start off slightly different than we've usually done it. And the theme today is basically starting with the end in mind. And this is probably why you're wondering what's this chart we're looking at. This chart's the syndication and promotion of Blueprint Planner. And this is basically what creates you everywhere now. This is part of the process. This is what gets you broadcast across the web. And this is why we're building websites using DWS, is to get our message out everywhere. So this feature is very, very powerful, and I really love the screen a lot. So I'm going to scroll up slightly and just show you what's happened. And at the moment, we're at the end of the process, step 6. And what I'll do is I'll hop to the beginning and talk you through this website I built out yesterday quickly for this presentation. The theme of this website is just cleaning, clearance. It's house clearances, basically going in. It's for like a local business, going in, clearing out houses. They do office cleaning, carpet cleaning, house cleaning. They remove rubbish, they cut lawns, they do all that kind of stuff. So what I've done is I've just mapped out a blueprint to demonstrate this, and we've ended up on the screen. So here's the website all built out, and we have assumed that it's been published, and we've started our promotion and syndication blueprint module. So we're here on step 2 of the create promotional plan, and this essentially is what gives you your battle plan. And what makes this really powerful is you can essentially promote a single keyword. So say now you're just promoting one keyword, you can create the promotion plan just around one keyword. You can promote a theme, i.e. a silo by itself, like I've got mapped out here, until it's completed. You can do silo by silo as you're working through this with your client. It's totally versatile. Or you could actually just back your way into market by promoting your supporting articles, then your categories, then your silos last. It works totally with you. And the benefit of this is you can actually adjust the date of a year of when you want the promotions to start. The result is we get a month-by-month, blow-by-blow syndication plan telling us our costs of what it'll cost us for new content versus repurposed content, how much savings we can make if we repurpose the content, what's our content development tasks for the month, so we can see how much content we have to develop month by month for the entire process of our promotion. We can see by promotion type all the signals we're going to create. We're going to see how we're going to distribute our word across the web on different platforms and mediums. And then finally, we can see keyword by keyword how we're going to promote the keyword and what the cost involved with the content is going to be. So you can see we're sort of stacking and backing away into the market to finally end up promoting the hardest keywords at the end. And here we go, week by week, month by month, showing us exactly what we're going to have to do every single week and what keyword we're going to be promoting. So this process is something that takes a lot of time to try and figure out. Now with DWS it's become super easy, and I'll show you how. So simply I'll just click exclude. This will then remove the promotional plan. So you could potentially sit with your client, or you could sit with your partner or whoever you're working with, and you guys can look at different models of promotion to see what suits you best, what the cost will involve, and how long it's going to take. So let's say, for example, we wanted to just focus on the rubbish collection first. So we click on that, we click include, and on the refresh of the screen, DWS will build you out a customized blueprint specific to that keyword, blow by blow, week by week, month by month, promotion by promotion for that specific keyword. So when I scroll down, that took us, what, 10 seconds? There we got our battle plan just for promoting that one keyword. So we can see by August next year we'll be promoting that keyword. That keyword is worth $2,000 a month to our business.
It's excellent.
And we can see how we're going to be promoting, what our promotions are going to be. So it's a pretty stagnant, flatlining, boring type of signal we're pushing out, just a consistent plodding along type of signal. But there's a lot of things happening around it. And then by the keyword, we can see how we're going to be promoting this keyword. So we're going to be doing roughly 4 promotions per week. So if that's not enough for you, all you can do is come back here and look at where something else is more profitable. So let's just say we want to back away into the house clearance market, and we're going to start with our supporting articles. And we want to back away in by getting those ranked first as well, so we can include those into our plan. Now remember, if you're sitting with a client and they've got budget constraints and you start showing them this of how they can plan their promotion and how you can be accountable for how you're going to spend their money and how you can make them savings, this can be really powerful. If you don't want to show the client this, you can take screen caps of the graph and you can embed them into any of your plans, and you can simply just do that by exporting the actual charts as PNGs, or you can actually copy the dial of the chart. And if we just open up a note page quickly, it will give you all the comma separated text, all prepped and ready. You can actually just put into a spreadsheet with that chart, and you can send it to a client and say, look, this is what we propose we're going to do for you, these are the costs, and you can adjust the costs accordingly. So DWS, with this plan here, it helps you plan out your promotion very rapidly. So we've come up with 2 models in literally 6 minutes, giving us different perspectives of how we can promote our website and how much it's going to cost and what it's going to take to get the job done. Now, from an HR perspective, a human resources perspective, you can actually see where the peaks and the troughs are of activity. So up front in August, you'll have quite a bit of work. There's like 20 actions that need to get done. You can very quickly see when you need to get resources in, more guys to work, or when you need to outsource. So it makes it super clear. Russell, Sue, would you guys like to have anything to say about this plan here?
I'll say something. I'm in the middle right now of preparing a blueprint for a client, and we got like 2,000 keywords in the blueprint. And this option right here is going to save me so much time when it comes to actually figuring out their promotion blueprint, because if it had been a normal setup, trying to figure out how I was going to promote 2,000 keywords, I don't even know that I would try. You would just like stab in the dark each month and hope for the best, because trying to come up with some kind of a regimented way to make sure that all of those keywords get promoted on a regular basis so that my client ranks for all those keywords, and not only ranks for the keywords, but these tasks are designed to generate traffic on third-party platforms and actually bring that traffic back onto the website. And so, you know, all of that is just like taken care of for me, and I can't tell you what a relief it is to know that I don't have to sit there with spreadsheets for hours and hours and hours on end every month trying to figure out what it is I'm going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I also wanted to add for people who might just be getting on the call, and for everyone else, regardless of your level of skill, we're doing something a little bit different today, which is something I learned from Perry Marshall. Just in case those of you who might have been on previous webinars aren't following, we're actually on the promotional plan, so we're flipping the entire process upside down. Perry Marshall talks about this as, you know, flipping the white paper on its upside down, you know, flipping it on its head and starting back to front, because that's usually the most important thing. So we just want to let you know that the end goal is this project is the promotional plan. And my favorite aspect of this is the many things that we're creating right now behind closed doors that are not on this version, including the one feed to rule them all, multiple RSS things. We have that feed. We also have this repurposing stuff that Matt glossed over. I wanted, Matt, maybe you could just get a little bit more quickly into the, you know, the repurposing line again and what we mean by repurposed content. Because it's really about, this is everything, guys, from content curation to micro press release to RSS syndication and promotion. And a lot of stuff that you do need a little bit of training on some of our courses. And believe it or not, it's actually not rocket science anymore. We are actually getting really refined in our ability to teach this stuff, and that's all the members area as well. But I'm really excited about this repurposing content graph that Matt has at the bottom. I just wanted you to go over that maybe one quick more time, Matt.
Sure, no worries. Well, what we've done here, right, is we've created a plan. And when we look at this plan, it tells us 3 stories here. It tells us a story of new content, it tells us a story of new of repurposed content, and it tells us the tasks, okay, that are involved. Now, if you have to go rewrite all your content from start, brand new, this is how much expenditure you can expect per promotion week by week. Now, with repurposed content, if we scroll up slightly to the plan, just up here, we can see that if we write new content, it will cost us $300. If we repurposed, it will cost us $100, thus making the business a saving of $200. So we've built in ways how to save money into DWS, and this is one of the core points. Now, with the way how we build our website out, in the content creation part, we write PAM articles, the paying method article. Just by the way and the nature of how we write this content out, we can actually repurpose this content and reuse it in different formats for different media types, thus reducing the cost almost by, I would say, up to 75% or even up to 60%, depending on how you use it. Because you could actually use some of the sentence structures for tweeting, you can use some of the sentences for other headlines on other blog posts. You could take core points out of your poem article. So if you had 7 ways to clear out your house cost effectively, you could repurpose and say 3 ways and take 3 of the points, which leaves an open hook, which leads the person back into your primary website. This is how we repurpose the content. And remember, this whole mechanism that we've designed here in the promotional syndication modeler, the whole functionality of this module is to basically drive traffic to your website. We want to own all the places, we want to be involved in all the conversations, and we want the people to find us and come back to our golden frame, our primary website. The byproduct of that is a backlink. And what this whole process goes through is there's quite a lot that actually happens when we do this. When we generate this chart. Sorry, carry on, Russ.
Well, I was just going to say that some feedback I've gotten from other webinars is those of you listening to this really know that there's no need to panic as far as the specifics of how all of this is accomplished. There's training in there. For example, everything that Matt described is part of our perpetual retweet machine module and all the other things that we're building in there. So again, this estimated cost from repurposed content is really all based on business rules, and we'll probably end up going back, to the beginning and walking you through front to back, fairly shortly in short order. So you can see how these business rules are set, and you get to control the cost in all this. And what's really cool is when you start tweeting and doing everything that Matt was just describing, you can really drop even some of your estimated content, repurposed content, to darn well near free. And this is really where it starts getting into multimedia broadcasting and repurposing your broadcasting content. Sorry for interrupting, Matt. I'm really excited about that functionality.
Yeah, that's cool. So the reason why we're starting with the end here is to give you the end goal. This is why we want to get you here, is because as soon as you get here, this is where the game really starts. This is where your site's live. This is the end result. This is where you start driving traffic, and this is where you start converting sales. And what's great about this whole system is just by following it from start to bottom, you can see it's got a vertical flow chart running all the way down where we go through a process. It takes you step by step all the way through the process. And as you just issue your tasks, write your content, publish them on the dates they're due, you actually start building out this map. The fact is you get spread across the web. All the publishing that you do gets fed through the one feed to them all. That then gets rebroadcast through the web, and that creates a lot of backlinks coming into your website. But the good thing about this is that we even manage your backlink portfolio for you with this. So I'm not going to get into that right now. I wanted to start this webinar off showing you guys, look, this is the end goal. This is where you want to be. You want to get to the promotion and syndication, and you want to start publishing on your site. So as soon as you start publishing and broadcasting and promoting your site, there's what you're after. You're after owning a keyword that's worth $11,000 a month. You want to get the contract for office cleaning, where at the minimum you can make $2,200. Now, when I spoke with Ron Thompson on a call yesterday, I did a training session with him, and we took him through DWS. His client's in a similar model, or sector is this, and depending on the size of the company that they're dealing with, when they do office cleaning, they can earn anything from X up to thousands of pounds per month, depending on the size of the organization. These forecasts and numbers that we see are the bare minimum that we expect. So we're coming from a conservative perspective. So I want to take us right back to the beginning to show how we actually got to this point where we can start promoting. And what we have here is a linear process, guys. It's a step-by-step process that you go through to get to this point. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create our empire, and we're going to create our website. Then we're going to do the silo framework. This is where we design the architecture of our website. Then we'll do the DNA braid. This is where we define our message. We put the most important keywords and we bind them as supporting keywords or synonyms to our silo framework. Then we set up our team if you've got a team. If you don't have a team, it's just yourself. All you got to do is basically hop onto the next one, but I'll go over that quickly. Next, we write our content. You feed your content straight into DWS. Once you've written all your content for your website, you can come to the website, export all your project settings out, publish your site live using the XML feed here with the silo blog builder, get your site live, put it on the web, get it all tweaked out, make sure it's all right. When the site's live, you come to the promotional plan, and this is where you start driving your business. And that's how the process works from A to Z. It's a very simple process, and the way DWS works is it's got a horizontal plane that it runs across, which is this process over here from 1 to 6, but then it's also got a vertical plane that we're zooming in and we're zooming out. So when we start with our empires, we zoom all the way out. What are we going to build? We want to have an empire that owns the cleaning market. We want the clearance market. We want to own that. Within that empire, we're starting our first primary website.
Hey, Matt, can we go over to the empire area and actually show them?
Sure. So I'm clicking on the home screen. And what you'll see is our empires. Now, when you want to create an empire, you simply just click on the link, create an empire. You fill in a simple little form, give it a name, give it an objective, and then it'll take you on to actually configuring the empire. So once we've configured the empire, by clicking that link, you can see our first project. Now you can have multiple sites within our empire. And this is our primary website. So over here we can see the name of the site, where it is within our web ring. Now, in our training, we talk in a lot of detail about the web rings, and we explain how to build networks out. Because essentially with DWS, you're building a broadcasting network. A network consists of multiple components, and DWS helps you manage this. So remember, we zoomed out, we've made our empire, we zoomed a little bit in, we've created our website, and as we zoom in a bit closer, we can actually drop into any part of the process. So from this perspective of where we are looking at the site, we can see we've got 6 silos, 9 categories, 5 supporting articles, and we've got 1,334 keywords we've been looking at within our keyword ideas screen. Okay. Now, on any site, you can rapidly update it by simply clicking on Update Site Parameters. And what this does, this takes you into the global settings of DWS. And on this webinar, I don't want to go into absolute detail about this form, but what it basically does, it allows you to configure this website. It allows you to define what type of web ring. Next to the web ring here, if I click on that link, you'll see it actually opens us up into our wiki, where when that loads, it gives you all the information about web rings. And there's videos and there's a ton of information. But this is exactly what a web ring is. We're starting over here. Then we're going to start doing that. Then we're going to start building up the web ring 2. We're going to do the social web ring, then 3. And you can see how we keep on stacking the layers. And at the end, we've got our primary, and we've got all these layers of rings all feeding back into us.
Yeah,
Okay.
and just a comment there for everyone on that chart. The WR1 simply means, this is Sue Bell's model for web ring 1, and WRS means social. So when we're dealing with the wire services and the massive broadcast and syndication services that we're partnering with, you can just think of the S or social as the third-party platform, social media, YouTube, and everything else. And the WR1s and base items are your primary sites and your personal blogs that you own, your websites. Thanks, Matt.
No worries. So what you'll see is as we're going through DWS, and even as we're moving forward right now, we're already integrating video. We're integrating all these little help tips to take you to detailed information. You can see there's a ton really a lot of information and videos, and you're explaining in detail what actually are we speaking about. So you've got all the support there. Over here, we give you places to put your elevator pitches, which is like if you had 1 minute to tell me what your business is and what you do, you would fill it in there, and these are things that we'll use throughout the promotions. We then get to the search engines, and we define what search engine we're on, and we define what currency we're working in. We can then define our market spread. How big is our market? What defines a silo? What defines a category? And then what defines supporting articles? We define our costs, and then we've actually defined our conversion rates for our blueprints. And this works in two ways. If you're doing direct sales, i.e. you're selling a digital product and it's your own product, essentially you could say 25% of the traffic that will come from Google when I'm ranked in positions 1 to 3 will hit my page. And my conversion rate on the page, I'm estimating it at being 1% because it's a brand new website. So with DWS, I like to come in conservative, so I'm not disappointed but rather pleasantly surprised. If you're doing leads, for example, for a business, you're in the services industry and you're driving leads from your website to a sales team which sits in office, you then put their conversion rate over here. So if you want to ignore this, just make it 100% and or totally ignore this filter. But let's say you've got a team that sits, and as the lead comes in, they pick up the phone and they phone the person and they do the upsell, or they speak the person sell. You would ask them, out of every 10 sales, how many actually convert into a sale out of every 10 calls? And if they say 5, 6, 7, whatever that number is, you would put it in there. And what this will do is, in the system, we'll actually convert the costings so we can see what we're dealing with. Then what we do is, at the minimum, we say, what's our lowest profit point we're going to make on average? And when we stick that number in there, it factors everything out for us. So then we put the budget in of what we want to spend on this website in total, and how much do we want to earn, okay? And it tells you how many people you need to drive to the website to create one sale. So basically, for every 100 people coming to the website, we'll get a sale. And we need 250 sales to make a target of 10,000 a month. So when we update this, what this does is it defines all the parameters for DWS specific to this one website. So you can have multiple sites within your empire, all configured differently, specific to what you're doing. So this is how we can build the different web rings out. So the first step we're going to do now is we're going to hop across to the silo framework screen, and this is a very powerful screen. This is basically what you can use as your quote engine. There's a lot of our members that use this just to sell the blueprints, where they actually send the export out of the screen to the client in this a spreadsheet format. And this is where we actually start building our website, and it becomes super easy to build out the website. So what you'll see is when you land on the screen, it's basically broken down by 4 tabs. We've got the keyword decisions, we've got the import screen where we actually put our keywords in, we've got the business rules and filters, which if we want to change something and adjust things, we can rapidly do that over here. And then we've got the manage blueprint screen where if we need to basically make a change, i.e. we put something in the wrong place, we can come to the screen and we can simply click on the little icons and we can move silos back into research. If we go to categories, we can move categories into different silos. We can control the whole thing. And if one of our keywords has disappeared, you go to the orphan keyword manager and you can actually click on that. And if there are any little keywords floating around that have been disconnected, you'll find them over here and you can move them back into your blueprint. So the way this works is we're building a silo structure. So you can see by this little icon, we've got the silo, there's the index page, there's our silos. Under those silos, we'll then build the next stackable tier out, and then under each of those nodes, we'll build the rest of the keywords. And here's an example of it. So if I go into garden services, you can see their clearance is the top level keyword, which is that icon over there. House clearance would be the silo. Garden clearance would be a category within house clearance. And then within garden clearance, we've got waste collection, rubbish removal, waste removal, maintenance services, and garden furniture clearances. And to build the sites is really, really easy. So This screen is basically made up of 3 core parts. We've got the silo framework on the side. We've got our filter, which allows us to filter by keyword, by competing pages ranges, by all keywords, just silos, just categories or supporting articles, and we can even do it by cost. So if we said, give me all the keywords that cost me less than $1,000 or whatever, you can do it. We can see how many keywords we've got in our project database. So I've got 1,364 keywords I can look at. And at the moment, I'm showing 30 keywords. And the reason why I'm showing 30 keywords is because with DWS, every single keyword that gets displayed, it runs through basically a traffic to profit funnel, and it gets validated and goes through a stringent process. And we do 17 checks.
Matt, I want to make sure that you show them this feature because I think it's just the bomb. I just want to give everybody an idea from the perspective. You can take any one of these keywords and click on it, and it will actually tell you based on our algorithms what the quality score of the keyword is. So you know, a lot of my friends who use this software now, you know, who've been part of Market Samurai tools for through the years, they like the the scoring qualities of those types of tools. Well, we basically give you the entire aspect of which part of the funnel it converts and what aspect of your business parameters it looks like. I'd like to show them that screen if possible.
Sure. So what I've got here is the keywords. So just to explain how this works, we go through 17 checks for every single keyword, and then based on the 17 checks, we see which keyword is the most profitable based on your business rules, and the most profitable keywords will always float to the top. Now, to see what defines this keyword, what actually is happening under the hood, you simply just click on that little icon over there, and it opens up the screen which we call our traffic to profit funnel, a validator. And what this does is, if I scroll to the side, you can actually see the process. What it does, it runs through the traffic check, it checks on-page conversions, it checks your backlinks and your development costs. It looks at the income potential, then it does the income versus expenses, and it checks is there profit at the end. And you can see down in this column, we've got 17 checks. Okay, running all the way down. Now each check is associated by color to different parts of your funnel, okay, as you run down. And if we run across them, you can actually read in detail how much traffic this will actually convert. And if it qualifies, it'll get ticked off. And if it's profitable, you'll see dollar signs. And then over here, we give a short description of what's actually going on. So as we run through this, we can see this keyword gives us a 100% quality score because it meets all the criteria that we have set for that specific keyword. So that keyword, estate agents in, is a good keyword in the sense that it meets, from our business rules, it meets all the criteria. Now, does this fit in our project? Yes and no. Estate agents in, you could essentially go speak to estate agents and try and do work for clearancing if that's your business model. But it's not particularly a keyword I would use. So you always refer back to the silo framework. Now, cleaning jobs is something that we're interested in. And what happens here now is we've got the quality score over here. We give you the ability to quickly update your primary data over here for the keywords, the search volume, the competing pages. And then we tell you whether it's a silo, a category, or supporting article. So if I scroll down slightly here, there you can see we've got a supporting article, and there we can see we've got a category. Now the next important thing is our commercial intent indicator. We created an algorithm that actually checks the keyword, and it checks what's the commercial intent based on that keyword. So where you see the dollar bills, there's a high commercial intent on that keyword, and it's something worth looking at, okay? If it's got the dollar bill and some pennies, then it's got a medium buy intent. I've put this keyword in here. I just put in about just to make up a word for this presentation, and I put in a crazy number of 10 million competing pages and 10 million search volume. But there's no buying intent, and we can see this is more of an information-based educational keyword. That's something you can look at. Okay.
So the bottom line is there that dollar bills are that's your buyer's money. That's
yes.
Your buyer keywords. The coins are middle ground, and the glasses are the educational only, which is very useful to know, especially when you start learning about how we set up our networks and how we do our curation methods, our content repurposing later on in the other modules. You see, everything in the system is connected, and that's one thing I can't iterate enough, is all of these features and benefits that we've given you are connected to a stackable, in the stackable system, which then you'll use later on. It's really amazing to be able to know the difference between the educational and profits or money keyword.
Yeah. So what happens here is on the grid side, typically on tools you'll get competing pages, search volume, in title, in URL, blah, 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 blah. I don't really care about that. Competing pages is important to me because I want to know at what band am I within the silo architecture. Search volume, if there's no search volume, there's no conversions. So that's why search volume is important to me. That's why we put it in here. But we've created our own charts, columns here, where we tell you if you add this keyword, it has the potential to create 275 conversions a month in your business based on the search volume pushed through your commercial rules that you set for your business rules. We're telling you it's going to take you roughly 15 months of your time to get ranked for this keyword. Now with silo architecture, that time will decrease if you build out your silos properly. It just depends on how good you actually do your work and how you work on your on-page optimizations. We tell you roughly how many suggested backlinks do you actually need if you want to own that keyword. And then we tell you roughly how many supporting articles do you need to have nested underneath that keyword if you're going to build out a silo structure for it. We tell you the cost. What's it going to cost you up front if you're going to start promoting this keyword? And when you are ranked in positions 1 to 4, how much will that keyword actually potentially yield you? Now this number is, if you're in position number 1, you should be getting at least $11,000 worth of sales out of that keyword a month. So from the beginning, within our stackable system, we are looking at it from a business perspective. We are looking at it from a conversion perspective. And we know that with silo architecture, we can get ranked with far fewer inbound links. We know that with DWS, we know exactly what we're dealing with. We know how many backlinks we need. We know how much supporting articles we're going to write. We know what it's going to cost us to promote that keyword. And we know what the reward at the end is going to be. How much potential profit can we make if we own that keyword? Now we've added another dimension to this, where if we look at our competitors, right, and we can see that in positions 1 to 10, the average page rank is a page rank of 2. Now I've looked at this, and this is what we're actually up against. If I update our filters, what DWS does is it readjusts the entire business model from start all the way through to the end, to the promotional plan. It will adjust everything to factor in who you're dealing with. So let's say you go into real estate, for example. You could be up against guys with page ranks 5s, 6s, and 7s. That's a whole different game you've got to play in comparison to this local site I'm dealing with, where the average page rank is a page rank of 2, just in this example. But what you can see here, I've increased it up a one page rank, and our supporting articles have increased. Our backlinks have increased on the keywords we're looking at, quite a fair amount. So this is what's really great about this. Now we've got another filter system at the end here, and what this does is says when you're ranked in positions 1, 2, 3, you have the potential to make profit within 2 months. The system tells you. If you come down here to cleaning company, it basically tells us that we're not going to make profit within 2 months, but within a year, that keyword could make us $28,000. Sorry, pounds. And the little flag tells us whether it's in our budget. If we go to the end of our list, I'm just going to click on 44. What you'll see is a different story. And essentially what this has done is dropping all the chaff to the bottom of the barrel, so you don't have to focus on it. You're concentrating on where the money flows through the market. And this is the key point of the silo framework screen. The biggest benefit of the silo framework screen is, one, you don't have to think about these keywords that have no value to your business whatsoever. They're thrown to the bottom of the barrel. They're there if you want to find them, but we brought the best keywords up to the top. The second benefit is you can rapidly build out your website with this system. So yesterday when I showed Ron and we did this, we built the whole website and I explained everything to him within 2 hours. And that's drilling into keywords, extracting the stuff, and taking through the process for the training that you wanted. So what are the sorry?
Sorry, Matt. I just want to make sure everybody on the call, you can just type in your text. I'm assuming that everybody, I probably shouldn't assume, but that everybody knows the value of the website side architecture. And so do we have people who've been asking questions on website side architecture, or is that something that is pretty
we haven't had questions. We haven't had questions on silo architecture, but we have had a request to actually see how the silo blueprint was built out from scratch.
Oh, okay.
Maybe just add a silo to this.
Yeah, I was going to do that now.
Okay.
Okay, and why Matt's doing that, I will just add to everyone, in case you're new, because we do have a lot of new people that are starting to come into our webinars. Website style architecture, yes, it still works. This is an email I got this morning. Also want to, Sue and I can validate this. We have tons of proof, like right in the middle of the Penguin update. 3,000. I hate to use this number, but Sue insisted because we can prove it. A 3,000% increase of unique visitors in the middle of the Penguin update with website style architecture for one of our clients. Okay, and this is again ranking higher for far fewer inbound links in your competition. Yes, it still works, and when you add your social signals and all the other aspects of it, it works better than ever. This whole broadcasting, new publishing mindset is working very, very, very well. So I just wanted to add that. Thanks, Matt.
Cool. Okay, so guys, I've done a lot of chatting, but I basically just wanted to explain what the columns are and how they work. But now I want to show you what I'm going to do. So this is how easy it is. We start off for our silos. We click on clearance. This is the top level node. We're starting right at the top. That's the first page, and that icon would be clearance. Okay. And I want to map out my first layer of my site, and I'm looking for silos. So all I've done is I've clicked on clearance. The page will refresh, and it says to me, you have selected clearance in the silo building mode. So when I come down here now, I want to look where the money flows. So is cleaning jobs a good keyword? Yes, it's worth 11 grand to my business. Second-hand furniture, I'm not interested in that. By the way, this is all data I've imported from Market Samurai, and the way I pulled this data in, I simply went to Market Samurai, I pointed to my file, which is in my folder on my desktop, and I clicked import. And that was as easy as it is. There's no big deal. The only thing is with Market Samurai, when you export it out of the tool, you must resave it as a CSV comma separated file. Okay. By default, Market Samurai exports stuff out as a Unitext file, and it won't get imported. So save it as a CSV, and you'll have no problem.
Market Samurai, never heard of it.
This is from Ron yesterday. That's the tool that he's been using.
I was giving you a hard time, man.
Sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select cleaning jobs, and I'm going to select domestic cleaning, and we've got rubbish removal. Those are two keywords that fit in with my plan. Okay. And I'm going to put in removal companies. Actually, not removal, because that's more like moving house. Cleaning companies, that's a good one. So you notice that I've clicked on keywords that have got value. They're in the black, they've got money. This one down here, domestic cleaning, has got value as well. As you scroll to the bottom of the page, we've got different submit controls. So we can move to blueprint, add primary synonyms, supporting terms, add supporting keywords. We can delete selected keywords, or we can delete all the keywords in the research grid. This is a new feature I built for the guys that if you don't like the data that's in here and it's cluttering up, simply click on that button and we'll clear out the grid for you, but it won't delete your project keywords. You don't have to worry about that. So all I do is I click Move to Blueprint, and when the page refreshes, what's going on here now? That'll shift our nodes into the blueprint. Okay, we'll scroll up. So what it does, it drops our nodes into the blueprint over here, and then all we have to do is, when we want to add supporting articles, we can simply go to the category that we want to add things on. So if we go to carpet cleaning, we can select on carpet cleaning, and we just run through the same process. Let's wait for the screen to reload. Okay, so all we'll do then is we'll check through the keywords that we want, and we go to the bottom and we move them in. And what that does is it actually goes and maps out and stacks the stuff. So what I'm going to be doing for you guys is I'm going to be doing videos, because I want to talk about this in detail, and we're going to be opening up a new tab over here with video instruction for each screen. This is coming out in the next week or so. As I'm putting the videos into the system, I'll be using this example, this project as an example, and I'll do the training showing you from the beginning to the end how we build out the whole website step by step through the whole process. We're going to have inline video, also linking back to the members area, which is coming into the system over here. So that's as simple as it is. You select a node, you want to put your keywords underneath, you check them, press move to blueprint. If you want to exclude a node, for example, cleaning services, let's say you didn't want to promote that right now, you could check on the second checkbox. And when I say exclude, what it does, it actually doesn't factor into the costings over here. So you can actually decide what keywords you want to promote and which ones you don't want to promote right now, and it'll factor in. Another thing I want to explain here is on supporting articles. What this does is it looks at the cost here is calculated by the amount of backlinks plus one article. This is how the cost is calculated out. So if you try and calculate it out and think there's an error, you're not going to be building 20 pages specific to that keyword. You'll be building one page, but then you'll have 20 other pages as supporting articles. So you can't have 20 plus 20 plus 20 all the way down, because that will totally inflate your figures. So the cost is the backlinks plus one page equals the cost over here. Now, what we got up top here is the export screens, right? From here, you can export all the keywords out of the grid. You can send it to a client when you've done analysis. Often I do this for guys is they want to have a quote done. I ask them for their 50 keywords. I import them in, I export them out, and I send them that back, and I request a half-an-hour consultation with them on their keywords. While I do that, I ask them for the website address as well. And what I do is I take the top-level URLs. So say, for example, we went to House Clearer in Scotland, and draw that keyword there. Let's just say this was the client. I just make this up and going along. What I would do is I would actually take their keywords that they've got in the navigation over here. I would drill them as well, get the keyword data, and then what I'll do is I'll import that into DWS and I'll actually mirror their site. So when they come to speak to me about their keywords, I open up DWS, I show them what they've built out already. I say, this is what you've done. This is what these keywords are worth. Here are missed opportunities. But I don't tell them how to go about building everything out. I just speak to them about how they can make more money. And just by having this conversation, and by showing the clients, you don't have to show them DWS, you can use a spreadsheet as well. You can actually show them how the money flows to the market. This is how you can actually get the guys to buy into a blueprint. And you've got the confidence because you've got the whole stackable system, which is going to help you all the way through the way. So the last thing I want to show you here is you can export the blueprint when you're finished. You can export it as a CSV. And if you want to see what's going on in the blueprint from a grid perspective, simply by clicking on this link over here, which says views from the framework, here you can see your silo, your categories, and you can see the supporting articles you've actually added to the blueprint. And you can see your blueprint map as you're working through. So we can see we've missed out on cleaning services. We need to add some supporting keywords over there. We need to add our supporting keywords to our removal. Now, what this does is this helps us build the tsunomic set. And essentially, this is your keyword DNA that you're building over here. This is what you'd use as anchor text. These are important keywords that define the story of the actual cleaning service. So if we're talking about commercial cleaning, we're going to be talking about commercial cleaning contracts, commercial cleaning services, and we're going to compare commercial cleaning services against ourselves. Each one of these keywords I've added in over here have value. They can make my business profit, and I want to own them. and they tell the story of what I'm talking about here, but it's in context of the whole story of that actual silo. So you can actually have different perspectives which you can use to help you move along through the process. And that's basically the silo framework screen.
Matt, would you show them how to add synonyms? We had somebody ask how you can add synonyms and supporting keywords.
Yeah, it's super easy. It's the same as moving into the blueprint. You would select the keyword you want to add them to. You would check the keywords that are synonyms. So let's do an example here. We're on carpet cleaning. So let's just type in carpet. And I'm going to run the filter. And I want to get synonyms or supporting keywords that have the stemming word carpet in it. So I've pressed submit, and this will run off and actually put all the keywords back that have carpet in it with a suffix or a prefix of any other modifier. So when it comes back now, if I type in carpet, Control F, carpet, you can see basically over here in our keyword grid, every keyword has carpet in it. Okay. Now, carpet cleaning London and professional carpet cleaning, that essentially would be a keyword I would go after. And I'm just running down the list here. Carpet cleaning services has a lot of search volume. I might be interested in using that as a synonym. I'm not interested in the carpet care, carpet cleaning companies. That might be another one. Now, I've chosen those because I know that within a year I can still make profit off them, but I'm using those as synonyms. So then what I would do is I would come to the bottom of the page and I'd either add them as synonyms or add them as supporting keywords. And you click that button, and what it does is it binds those words to the keyword over here, but it doesn't remove it from the keyword grid. So you can still use them in the silo framework. If you move a keyword into a silo framework, it moves it from your keyword grid and places it over there. Okay, so that's just an important differentiation over there. So what I'll do next is I'll click on the silo DNA braid. This is the extension of the silo framework, and this essentially, let me just get rid of that there, let's open it up there. This screen here helps us define the terms over here. We can actually just run through this screen. Now, if we click on the keywords again, it's as simple as that. Click on the keyword. What it'll do is it'll actually open up the synonymic set that's associated with cleaning services. So once it opens it up, what we can see over here is we've got our contextual keywords. DWS automatically gives us and our writers the contextual keywords we need when we're actually writing our article. And what it does is it then gives us the ability to bind supporting keywords to it. Now, if we read through these and we don't like something, we can simply delete them by clicking on the little icon over there, and we can remove the supporting keyword, or we can add more over here, where we simply just type in one keyword by one line and we bind them. So if we wanted to add a supporting keyword, we can simply just key them in here. And typically the way I work is I keep these two tabs open and I just work my way through the open spots and I fill them in as I'm moving along with this. So this is almost like an edit and a review screen, and if you want to store competitor data, you can. You can simply import competitor data by clicking on this link, and you can choose where you got the competitor data from, and you can import it. And what it'll do is you can, with DWS, bind competitor data if you want to. It's not necessary, but some people like to bind their competitor data to specific keywords they're targeting. And with this, we give you everything, and we give you some interesting charts that get evolved when you actually pull the data in. So that's there
Matt,
as well.
Matt, can you show the competitive types of services that we bind there? Just you did a quick
Sure.
drop down, like just quickly show those services. So a lot of people have a lot of different tools that I do. Just yeah. So
Yes.
our
At the
last
moment
keyword tool.
There's last keyword tool, keyword elite, market samurai, SEM rush.
Okay,
if you have got a specific tool that you would like to have used, I know like some guys use Traffic Traverse. If it's something that you'd like, just ping us an email help desk and we can incorporate it. It's not difficult to put into our system. We just need the CSV file. It's got to be a CSV export, and we just need the column headers and the structures, and we can actually add that to our menu. So don't battle and try and bump your head against the wall. The same applies for keyword tools. If you use a specific keyword tool, all we need is competitor pages in phrase match, search volume phrase match, and we need the information in monthly or daily. If it is daily, you must just tell us this is daily information so we can actually calculate it out properly for you. But we can actually add the tool that you use in there, so you can just select the tool and import your data set into DWS. That's one of our benefits, is that it's a universal tool. We can use any data set with this, so you're not bound to specific subscriptions. You can use what you're comfortable with working with, or you have available to yourself. So in summary, what we did here in the Silo framework is we've mapped out a framework for websites, we've defined our story using the DNA braid, and we've bound the most important synonyms and supporting keywords to this. This has created a synonymic set over here for us, and if we're in cleaning, for example, you could see how cleaning is scattered throughout the conversation if I highlight them all. So there you can see there's a theme, and the same would apply for garden. If we typed in garden, you'll see the next theme. And what's good about this is with the synonymic sets, and each theme within a silo, they all fall under the clearance market that we're targeting in this story over here. So now we come to our team screen, and this is where things have become really cool, because with DWS, if you do everything yourself and you start assigning work to yourself and you start using DWS, it makes you painfully aware that you're already 62 hours behind schedule and you haven't even started the month out yet. We're in the middle of the month and I'm already 63 hours behind in my work. When I zoom in, remember I said it's DWS, we can actually go from a horizontal and a vertical plane. We can actually zoom in and zoom out. I can actually see that on online marketing I've got 174 hours worth of work, and on house clearance I've got 20. So I've got a ton of work I've got to get finished over here with deadlines, and I've got this as well. So this is where the team management becomes really important, because this is where you can start seeing, okay, cool, where can I get guys to do tasks that I don't need to do? And this is where you can start outsourcing work, and you can use DWS to manage this. So you could get guys to write content for you, and you can come and do the final proof on it. So you don't have to sit and battle writing out the content. Some people have budget constraints, we understand this, but then obviously things will run a lot slower for you. If you haven't got budget constraints and there's a client paying you a specific rate, you can factor in teams. So you could maybe get guys that you can pay $400, $500 a month, and you can have them working for you for the whole month. It's all super easy, and the way it works is with team availability, we can see who can do what work and how. We can communicate with the team simply by clicking on this icon, and we can send sorry, I pressed the wrong button there. We can send detailed information or requests. Now, what I've done over here is I clicked on my name. It's opened up the template, and when I click on a new task, I can assign it to anybody in my team, wherever they are. I can tell them what I want, how I want. I can carbon copy just by putting a comma in. I can carbon copy pinpoint into this. And when I submit this task, what I'll do is on the home screen, as I log in, I can actually have a review of all my tasks I've assigned to people that I'm working with, and I can see if they finished it or not. And what I'll do is it'll actually start coming over here. And this works with a deadline basis as well. So if it gets beyond schedule, that task will have a little red counter showing you how many days it's behind schedule. So you can then contact the person, follow up, and find out what's going on. For yourself, it helps you keep on track with what you're doing. If you need to find outsourcing staff to set up blogs or do micro-tasking, we've created a whole directory for you where you can actually go off and find virtual assistants. You can actually get staff that will do certain things for you. You can go to Fiverr and get account creations done. Now, how much is your time worth to? Are you going to sit and watch it till create 30, 40 profile accounts for you? Or would you rather pay someone $5 and have them do it and send you the email with the information back when they're done, which you can then just take and copy and paste into the system, and it's done? It's cost you $5. How much of your time would you save doing that? How much more time can you put into your business working on the things that are important within the business? And this is what the whole team manager module works on. We're going to keep on working on this, and we've got all new exciting things coming out in here which will be added to this module. Russ, would you like to mention anything about that with the Fiverr type system that we're going to be getting built into?
Yeah, and Sue, feel free to jump in at any time. Sue and I have been working on, well, Matt's been doing these other things. We've started to integrate a Fiverr integration server that's going to be domain web studio specific, meaning, in fact, Sue and I were up pretty late last night looking at different types of things. So we really only want to sign off. There's certain kinds of things that, you know, we have to audit our actual gigs, to, you know, before we pass them on to you guys. So along with many, many other things that Sue has personally audited, specifically backlinking programs, and anything that's in the promotional plan that we recommend, we've audited. And anything that doesn't meet our standard, both for page rank and or traffic or conversion, we will remove. So that alone is worth the price of the application currently before we raise our prices, honestly, because what a lot of people do is they spin their wheels not understanding what works now with broadcast, with the new publishing models online and everything. So yeah, the Fiverr gig service will be domain. You'll see when we launch that site, we'll integrate some aspects of it in here, and you'll see whether it's been Domain Web Studio approved, and then you can just use that and pass that, you know, you'll know that the services that you're using with your clients or whatever are, you know, that we've tested and that they work out, whether it's backlink building or traffic generation, you know, and the rest. So we're kind of building our own mini Fiverr site is what we're saying.
Yeah, so here's an example of one of the account creation services. Global Staff, these guys do all these kinds of things for you. So you can go in here, you can actually hire them to do kinds of work for you. So if you have got too much work on your plate, there are options available to you over here which you can then go and outsource, and you can get people to do work for you. Now, I know everybody believes that no one can do the job as good as I can do it, but with that mentality, you'll work slow and you won't be able to take on more contracts, which essentially would make you more money at the end of the month. Now, with DWS, we need to leverage.
Yeah, totally. And we're leveraging other people's time. We're lining up some pretty big speaking gigs for you guys. I'm not going to mention the names right now, but you know, there's conversations pending, and you'll recognize a lot of the third-party outsourcing services that we're starting to integrate with more and more. And as a result, you'll be able to get, if you're not an experienced outsourcing expert, you know, this software makes it really easy. Domain Web Studio makes it really easy to start understanding how to manage your time. And a lot of the faults and problems and issues that I've brought to Matt and Sue over the years of not being able to manage people have been remedied through this software. So we'll also be giving you some training on how to deal with that as well.
Yeah, so just in summary, what the important part of your business is designing a solid framework. This is where you define how the money flows to the market, and you build the architecture to hoover in and dominate and stuck in all that money keywords. The next thing we do is we define our story for our writers with the DNA braid. We then come to our team and we set up our team, and we can see who's working on what and who's doing what, and we can basically, with DWS, define what projects have priorities. So we can actually come back in and actually forward schedules that are set on certain tasks and readjust timelines and priorities on projects on the fly. This is a new screen that's coming out shortly. I'm currently working on this, nearly done. But it'll actually fall in over here, and you'll have the ability to just flip things around so that if this project goes on hold, we can reallocate time to other projects, and we can set those schedules further forward. Now remember, with the team manager, when it looks at your staff or yourself, it looks at your backlog, i.e. all the work you're not finished from previous months and the current month, and it reports on that. So it's always telling you how you're sitting for this month in time. Okay, so once your team's set up, then we start writing the content for our website over here. Now remember, we've done a lot of talking in this webinar, and when you actually come to build out the stuff, with no talking, it actually goes really rapidly. This front part runs really quickly. Now, if you are outsourcing content, it becomes super easy because all you simply do is you define what type of content you want written. You log where you put in the content, i.e. what type of website, what ring you're working on. That's just for yourself. The grade, you define the grade, how many words you need, and how much time are you allocating to that specific article, that one unit, and what you're going to pay the writer for that article. Now, by default, DWS brings your default global setting cost in. If you've got a specific deal with a writer where he's an expert in his field and he writes much better and he wants, say, $55 per article, and it's going to take him 3 hours to write the perfect painkiller article over here, you can put it in and the system will keep track of it, specific to the things you actually order on. So the way this works is we've got our silo structure mapped out for us, so we can always see the structure as we run along through DWS. And often we've spoken out, well, I like to build out sites. I like to build a website. I like to get the first silo done. I get the site live as fast as possible. So essentially I would order the cleaning services silo first because I know that's where most of the money is and I want to get ranked for this as fast as possible. So I'd order that and I'll get my guys working at writing the content. While they're writing the content, I will keep on either building up my silo structure or I would order more content and push it off to another guy. So the content gets written. And the way this works is pretty simple. You just fill in the form, you select the articles you want written, and you assign it to the team member that's going to do the writing for you. Now, if you've got a client that's working with you and they want to write to the content, they can either write the content and you can copy and paste it into DWS if you don't want to expose DWS to them, or alternatively what you can do is you can set them up as a team member if they know that you're using DWS, and they can actually write the content directly into DWS. And as soon as they write the content, you'll see a little green tick as they finish. You'll see the articles, they all get ticked off as they're done. So this is how the system works. When the content's not been ordered, what happens is you'll see like a flag with no articles. When it is ordered, you'll see the little pencil next to it. So you can see that I've pre-ordered all this content already. And what happens is when I order this now, all you do is you simply click on order site content and it comes up with the task manager screen. Now what it does, it gives a batch order, and in the screen this is where you define what you want the guys to do and you give them the instruction, a clear instruction. And the reason for this template is to just highlight the key points. Is what's the timeline, what's expected, what's acceptable, what's not allowed, and any further information.
Yeah,
alternatively,
so we just basically populated this with a pre-populated with a template for you that you can use, one that Matt recommends in his experience in outsourcing to keep your team members and writers accountable. But you can use whatever you want within this context. And this is where you can also give them instructions for any kind of multimedia files or anything that you want broadcast through your network.
Yeah. So say, for example, you want the guy to write the article, but then you want him to also create the PDFs and PowerPoint presentations, and you also want him to basically create 2 podcasts. You can add this all in here. Or alternative, another thing you can do is you can actually delete all that, go to the source, and you can paste a YouTube video if you made a video clearly defining what you want to do.
That's one of the main ways. One of the main ways that I use this is for mass video curation and video transcription, so that when you're you're creating your videos, once you have a video, you can actually create every type of media type. We're going to be showing you a lot more how to do this, and you can outsource that entire thing. You can literally create every kind of media type around a video. You just outsource it right here, and then it goes throughout your network through all your web rings. I mean, it's seriously powerful, mass broadcasting and publishing.
So this is totally free text. You can do what you want, and like I said, you embed the video and you tell them what you want them to do with it. They create all the content surrounding that video. They put it back into the system. They send you all the other type of files, and there you've done it all in basically a click of a button. You defined exactly what you want built out for you. Okay. So when we've ordered the content, it basically will get it all done, sets the date, it tells what's happening to, and then from there, when the guys write the content, they've got their own login screen. Your team will come in and log in. I'll show you this shortly how that works. But when I click on my current tasks for the month, here are all my keywords. That's the date it's due. I know what quality article it is. I know how much time I have for that article, and I know how many words I've got to write. Now, by being clear, it makes people happy. It gives them a good feeling. They know what they have to do. There's no ambiguity, and that's why we create that template, or we suggest putting a video in so you're clear. When you're dealing with outsourcers, the clearer you are and the more you define things, the better the end result. If it's ambiguous and they have to make decisions, they could take the wrong decision, and that could end up in being an astute, and this wastes a lot of time. So with the system here, it's super easy for your team. Your team will have the same screen as this when they log into DWS. Just they won't see the process. They'll just see home, and they'll just see help desk, and it'll be a customized interface specifically to them where they'll only see their tasks. They'll never ever see anything else when they log into DWS. They'll only see what's been assigned to them. And typically the way it works is you'll click on the edit icon. This opens up the writing content screen. Your contextual keywords come forward. There's our supporting keywords we defined. And as they write the content, they can essentially drag things into the WYSIWYG, and they can do what they want. They can make that a heading, and they can start writing the article, blah, blah, blah. And they type out the article, they get everything written, they define the headline, the meta tags are all pre-populated for you. You can come here, write a killer description, and when they're finished, they click create article, and what happens is it simply removes that article from their list. So let's click create article, and there we can see job done. When they come back to their list, they got one task less. It removes it out of the list and it sticks it in the completed tasks for this month bin for them, so they can actually go and see. If you contact them back and say, look, I'm not happy with that, for example, if we look at this example here, and you say, seriously, is that all you're giving me? Please do it again. You can basically just get them to go tweak it out and change it up. So it's super easy, very visible. And if you've got a few guys working for you, it's great seeing these little green dots just popping all the time as the guys are writing the content. You actually watch your website get built in real time as guys are working on it around the world, wherever you're getting them to do this stuff from. So as they've written all their content, we then come to build the website, and this is where it becomes really easy. We spent a good 6 months developing a plugin. It's called the WP Silo Builder, and I would be the first one to say it's the only WordPress plugin that actually builds proper silo structured websites. Now, this is not an SEO plugin, it's a silo architecture plugin, and the whole purpose of the plugin is to take all this hard work you've done, all this thought that you put in here, and to get it into a WordPress format where it's linked, built out, and managed properly. Here's an example of one of my test sites. I just go where I tweak and play around with it. But essentially, this website, I've done a video where I built this out in real time. I showed you guys within 10 minutes how I built out this whole website. And if I click on the back credit silo, the plugin has mapped out my whole entire navigation, and it's also showing me my supporting article navigation. And wherever I go into the site, the navigation dynamically changes to boost the page rank flow through your site so that there's no theme bleeding and the site is working contextually. It's all working well. So there we are on how to fix bad credit. If I drop into how to fix bad credit for free, it links back up to the actual parent keyword that we're coming from. If you look at bad credit, it's linking back to the home page. So the whole site architecture is actually built out for you. You don't have to really think about it. It's hoovered all the content in from DWS. It's all prepped and ready. And this is how it gets built out very fast. That whole process takes 10 minutes. I've done a video, so there's video proof of that, guys. So how does this work? Earlier I said to you we can build out sites silo by silo. Typically what you would do is, if you want to back your way into the market and you want to start promoting these keywords first, you will have to add the parent. So the parent of this node is garden clearance. And in order to see garden clearance, we need house clearance. So if you're going to build a site out, you need to map out the whole theme. Okay, it's just the way how the hierarchy works. This is a data hierarchy system that you're using. And when you're building out your site, this is what you need to do. So you simply just check that and you click publish. Once it's published, you'll see the blue worlds with the green arrows pointing up, indicating that this node has been published. And what this does is it actually releases the content that you've written into the XML. Okay, and the reason for this is if you don't want to publish things, you click X. Let's check that file. So we got right there. You can check that, and what it does is it will unpublish everything, and then you can only release stuff. So if your team's still working on certain parts of your site, you can work and publish the rest of the site and get it live and get it optimized and start driving traffic to it while the team's working on the rest of the stuff. So when I open this up and I click on that and I open the Firefox, this creates the XML file that we need for the WP Silo Builder. The WP Silo Builder reads this and uses this information that we've got over here to build our website. It will go and build the whole site out. And it does it in seconds. It's literally super fast. No one can build a 30-page website in 10 seconds. That is basically creating all your pages, dropping your content into the pages, doing the navigational structure of your website, and also theming and siloing the entire website. It's done in seconds. So a process that usually takes you hours, 8, maybe 2 days, this is done very quickly. So now it's very easy to get your site live. It's not a no-brainer anymore. And then that brings us back to our promotional plan. And this is where we've gone and we've built our whole website. We've defined the keywords we want to get ranked for. We've set up our team. We've got our team writing our content. We've published our site live. We're at the promotional plan. And this is where the fun really begins. And this is where the power is released in DWS, because if you understand what's happened now is we have gone through a process of creating a silo-structured, theme-defined website targeting the most important keywords in our market that have value to our business and have gone through a vetting system proving that they can create conversions. And we defined the synonym set that surrounds each of these keywords. Now what DWS does is in the promotional blueprint, and this is where things get really, really powerful, is it comes along and it actually helps you get ranked for that keyword plus the synonym set plus any keyword stemming that can come off this keyword just purely by what you're doing. So when we click on the promotional plan setup, this is where we basically define the system rules. Okay, so for this one, we're looking for business-to-business customers, and we want to work on a local and a national basis for this particular project. Looking at this project, we can click on Twitter, and what it does is it opens up the Twitter stream, and we can actually see what people are saying about clearance. Now, we'll get a bit of an ambiguous message over here. I bet you'd be house clearances and banked, all kinds of weird stuff. So when you see this, this will allow you redefine your theme keywords. So you can use this process before you start promoting to actually come and say, look, is clearance really the right keyword, or is house clearance the right keyword? What is the best keyword? You can actually define this simply by quickly looking at this, looking at YouTube. You can go look at LinkedIn. We can look at Omgili. So I'm just going to open those two up quickly. And this takes our keyword and exposes all the different mediums across the web, so web, blog, news groups, discuss Q&As, reviews. If you look at Q&As, you get really good headlines over there. So here we can see clearance, clearance, clearance. This looks like clearance word is mainly dominated by guys with cars. They're all talking about the cars, which is quite interesting. So over here, we can come and really redefine things. If we look at that, we can see what's going on with clearances. So the reason why I put clearance in was purely to demonstrate this, that sometimes your theme keyword that you think is the one that you want to get ranked for, when you come and look at it across the web, it actually might fall into something else. What you're really looking for is maybe house clearance or home clearance or property clearance. And that gives you, yeah. So the same would be here. If we put in property clearance, we searched on that, you then see how the whole story changes. So there's no questions on property clearance. If we go house clearance, and we can quickly find out how to position properly when we start broadcasting across the web. So here we start talking about heating and things around the house. So this looks like we're in the right type of category. So with DWS, this quickly helps us redefine what we want to do. And if we wanted to change that, we can simply just type in house clearance and we can save it, and it'll keep the team defining thing. The next thing is, when your website's live, put your URL in and no end trailing slash. I'll give you an instruction over there, but basically stick your website in there. And the reason for this, putting this in here, is DWS will actually build up the promotional and trackable URLs for you when you start promoting. So if you think of what's happening is, you've got your primary website, we're going to have content linking back to our website. We've gone to our promotional plan. We've created a promotional plan. And when we're happy with the plan that we want to stick with, we can actually finalize the keywords that we want to promote, okay? So here we can see the keywords we've selected. If I wanted to finalize those keywords over there, I'll click on Finalize Blueprint. What this will do is it'll lock down that node, so we can actually not exclude it from the blueprint, and then that'll be set in stone, okay? So what happens next is, once we've mapped out our blueprint, we come to the third-party platform account creation screen, and this is where we manage all our third-party accounts. It's a pain in the butt trying to remember where you've got accounts and what the username and what's the password for whatever website you're using, what's the profile that you use. With this screen, we can actually come in here, create accounts, we can see by page rank how strong the actual properties are. They're all grouped and categorized, okay? And if there's a specific one that's not in the list, we can add it very quickly by filling this form, and we can say where's the best place to actually put this keyword when we this property when we want to actually promote on it. To order the stuff, you simply click on that, click the date, time for the task, you submit it, and it'll actually put it in the queue, so you can actually view the account creation tasks that need to get done. And they'll pop up over here. So as you just create the accounts, you can log in and you can store username and password, and it'll keep everything prepped and ready for you. And this information will get used lower down in the system when your team comes to actually publish your content. So you don't have to actually send them the username and password. When they come to that task, the username and password will be presented to them right then and then. So we're dealing with the communication side of things as well. It's not a matter of you scratching around. Once the account's created within that project, for that project, the information is available to the people that are assigned to do the work. So we're streamlining the workflow as well. So ordering content, we've got 4 categories here under ordering content. There's media, branding, conversational, and promotional. And as we click on the screen, what happens is we can click on this. I'm just going to show you all weeks and all keywords, and it opens up a little ordering system. Now, what happens is we need someone to write the content, and then we also need someone to promote the content. So you could have 2 people in your team, one who actually takes the stuff and publishes it and makes the other properties look really well and puts your banners and all your other kind of stuff around the property, and you could have a person who's just a writer. So over here we can actually select and assign a task to 2 different people at the same time, and all we've got to do is basically simply click on, I'm going to assign an article to myself there. You click on assign a task. Oh man. I need to update the database. We just tweaked this out today, guys. I do apologize for that. But essentially what's going to happen is when you click on this assign task, it's going to basically go back to the screen where you get the email, you assign the instructions, and then it assigns the tasks. What happens then is, as you assign the tasks, that falls into the right promotional content screen, and when the guys click on the right promotional content, the task will be visible over here. So they write a task just like they've done in the content writing screen. They fill it in and they submit it. Once they submit the content writing task, we've just built a new feature into DWS, which is a firewall which we've created. And basically that'll catch the task for the promotional content to be vetted. This is where you'd actually sign the promotional content off and make sure that you're happy with it. As soon as you sign it off, it will then be exposed automatically in the place for the guy who's going to publish the content. So in his container, when he logs in, that publishing task will automatically just appear ready for him. It's ready to be published. He can then take that content, spin it, and publish it to the places he wants to publish it. As soon as he's published it, it will automatically fall into the one feed, RSS feed over here, and what that will do is it will automatically run through the one feed system, which we've clearly defined in our membership area, and that will bookmark and syndicate it through all the RSS channels and do a whole bunch of other things as well specific to that article that's been published. So the end result is you've got the article you've published, you've got a whole bunch of backlinks linking into that article. That article has been written so that it basically leaves an open hook and it drives the person who's reading the article back to your primary website. What's interesting though is from the page where you promoted to the place that you're sitting it in your primary, the anchor text that's used by DWS is automatically assigned from your Sonomic DNA braid. The article that you've written has used your DNA braid keywords in the actual article, and the topic you're talking about is the same. So I'll show you an example over here of the connections. Okay, so when we get the promotional plan over here and we look at promotional content, sorry, it's one down, promotional task for this month, the user would come in, you'd write it. You can see there I've got flags as well. They'll come in and write the article. When they save the article will then come into the publishing tasks, and when they come to publish it, everything's prepped and ready for them, and they've got trackable URLs. Okay. Now another thing I wanted to show you here on the writing screen is the URLs. Okay. With DWS, we're targeting a specific URL. However, DWS manages your profile as well, your promotional profile of your portfolio for your backlinks, and it will change them out and automatically embed them into your anchor text for you. So for example here, we can see we're promoting with bad credit, but DWS has automatically switched that out to say fix bad credit. It's changed the profile for you. So this is how you're getting a Sonomic relationship from the source to the primary page. And there's a Sonomic relationship because with DWS, on the left-hand side, we know what we've written on our primary website, and on the right-hand side, we know what we've written for promoting. And the anchor text, which is the bridge between the two pages, is sonomically related. It's one of our chosen keywords that defines the with bad credit page, or is sonomically related to it. So we handle that whole Google Panda situation for you guys here with the system. Now, that's how the whole process works. So,
hey Matt, and why don't we take some questions? Are there any questions from? We have quite a few people in this webinar. Why don't we just start taking a few incoming questions? And Sue, do we have any questions so far?
The only question we've got is one on clarification between the content from here and the content in for the website itself.
Right. So when we look at our promotional content, when we've written articles, okay, with DWS, when we've written a primary article, we've got two tabs. We've got the promotional article, which is going to be written over now. We can see our contextual keywords and synonyms. Everything gets brought forward. And then we see the article for the primary website. This is the article that was written. Okay, so when we're writing primary articles, it'll always only be in the site content. That's where this primary article will always only get written over there. When we're dealing with promotional content, we can only always edit and write it in the promotional section, but we bring forward the primary content that we're actually linking to. So if you think of it, we're writing content that's going to link using this keyword with bad credit to this page. Get help with bad credit today. And this is how we manage the two things. I hope that answers the question. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it totally does. So this really allows, this is where the repurposing and the spinning and all the other things that we have coming
Yes.
It allows us to repurpose. It's everywhere. So you have to have the original WR1 content in order to really make WR2 or any kind of curation or anything else.
Right.
Yeah, what's going to happen is, sorry, Sue, carry on.
So you've got that original content there in case you want to just curate it, in case the task is just like to take this and curate it out on to usingarticles.com or something like that, or you've got it in case you you want to write a news article, something that's up to date, but you want to keep it in the same tone so that you can reference back, so that that link, that contextual link, is actually meaningful, so that when they follow that back to the blog or the website, what they land on has a continuity between those two.
Yeah, and that's a major, major important function. It's what I was requesting when we started to build our Twitter army and our one feed to build them all functionality, which we'll get into more and more as we move forward. We have found that you really have to have a congruency between the link that you're coming from, whether it's a micro content curation, micro press releases, whatever it is, your Twitter accounts. Conversion rate goes way up, or as Subha likes to say in the certification events, only tweet thyself. Twitter is a really good example of not wasting the millions of dollars that is being wasted right now on social media by tweeting other people's links, because we think that it's useful. And it's not really only about maintaining your backlink page rank, which is really less and less of the issue. It's more about driving all the traffic and the traffic signal, and therefore the ranking signal, to your own site through your massive social media broadcasting. And this is a major point.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sue. I heard you.
Took a breath, yeah.
I think it's don't get her started.
Well, no, I got one more question, and and that is, aren't we over-optimizing by having all this continuity within the inbound links and the on-site content? And the answer to that is no. The whole point of, back at the beginning when Matt showed you how to use that synonymic set so that you've got supporting keywords and synonyms associated with this particular page, what we do inside of Domain Web Studio is we cycle through that list of keywords and rotate which keyword's going to be your third-party content and what that inbound anchor text is going to be. And what that does is it helps you get ranked for all of those keywords. And I'm sure Matt will go into that in a few more minutes. But
yeah, it's really cool. Like, don't get me started on over-optimization issue. I mean, this is like, oh man. Okay, so I mean, it's the new buzzword, right? Because people are still kind of getting a grasp on the fact that it's the new real-time broadcast environment that Google is reacting to with Penguin and Panda, which is really just a huge amount of uploaded data that's just gone social in real-time broadcast mode. And so what's really happening is social signals combining. Now everybody, you can read the articles on over-optimization, and the bottom line is there is a lot of consensus about just not diversifying your links or always having anchor text that's the same. And if you look at some of the site networks that actually went down, guys, I mean, really, I've got hundreds of hours of research into this, okay? Because we're getting 3,000% conversion in the middle of Penguin with websites architecture while everybody else is crying. And the difference is your backlink diversity. The difference is the way that you structure your site. You actually have to silo architect. You actually have to do your website architecture properly. And the difference is what we called 5 years ago DCD, dynamic content density. Networks that are not living, they don't, and that's why you see a lot of the new curation plugins coming out, like the Revitalizer and all these other things. They're trying to, just ping Google back through the social networks and through your own sites to let them know that, hey, we're still here, And really what's going on, the diversity aspect of all of this really has to do with the real core of the issue, if there is one, is the diversified links. And Matt, can we jump over again to the synonymic set function? Because I was going to slow you down when you went through that, but I'm glad that that question came in, because the synonymic set and the keyword supporting keyword function is really the key to this whole system. And if you don't know the primary issues with the Google patents and the Google changes, it's not going to be as unbelievably cool as it actually is to you. So thank you for asking the question about this diversity. And Matt, just get into that a little bit, the way that we track this diversity so that you're actually diverse throughout your network and your backlink network. And this is where the penguin proofing, the panda proofing comes in.
Yeah, if you think about over-optimization, I really paid a lot of attention to all those updates they did, and I read between the lines of what they're saying. They did like over 50 tweaks to the anchor text update, just in the actual anchor text. And what became very clear to me was Google not only understands what's going on one page within your website, they also understand what's going on with the whole contextual story of the entire site, the theme of the site. Okay? Now, that's the left hand of Google. On the right hand, Google knows who's linking to you from where, and they're looking at these type of things. So typically you had that little blog network set up, and they're linking all over the world to all kinds of crazy stuff, and that's why everybody got smacked, because there was no congruency, like Russell said. Now, we're not focusing on over-optimization. We're doing something totally different. And when you look at what we're doing here, if I just highlight cleaning again, we are defining what our business is about. We're not focused on getting ranked for just one keyword, and we're just putting all our backlinks through one thing. We're actually defining a theme. So if you look at this theme, we've got words like services, commercial, office, business, services in, contracts, commercial services, industrial services, office cleaners, office based in, corporate services, services in the central belt of Scotland. These type of keywords that we're wrapping around that theme, and there's a copy that we write, and the things we present, that diversifies the whole thing. Now, when we do the promotions and we're linking back in, the promotions we're doing in DWS will be centric to the primary keyword we're focusing on. So for example, we focus on cleaning services, and our story is about office cleaning, contract cleaning, cleaning businesses, cleaning commercial cleaning, cleaning services in certain areas, and commercial cleaning services that we offer. When we write our promotional content, we can take any one of these topics and we can actually write a story about that specific thing, linking back into this one with the keyword anchor text that's been assigned. So, and we're doing it from multiple mediums. We can do it through video, through Twitter, through social things, through forums, through local directories. Depending where we actually publish from back into our primary, we're using the same synonymic set, the same story, the DNA braid that defines what we do. We're just doing it better than everybody else.
Yeah, and this is part of the whole website silo architecture. I mean, there's SEOs I know. They're very famous. They've been in the business for years. I mean, I'm not going to even get into any names or anything. And a lot of them were hit really hard, and they're still really micro theming. If you really look at their sites, like I looked at a lot of the sites that got hit really hard, and even talked to somebody at Search Engine Land, and they're, you know, like, well, we didn't have diversified backlinks, and then we changed some of those backlinks to like www.mysite.com, and that helped us a lot. And you can do all that with this system as well. At the end of the day, it's really making sure, what I want everybody on this call to understand is that you're building a site and a website, a thematic website structure, and that's the hardest, most abstract thing for a lot of people to get, is that the way this site is engineered and designed has the link flow within the site that also supports that diversity. And even if you believed that you know, over-optimization could be associated with link diversity on the backlinking and the way that you create your backlinks, it still wouldn't be supported in website silo architecture, because the total internal structure of your site is also very focused on what your actual business is about, which is what Google is trying to get people to do anyways. So that's really what the whole Google update and Panda update is about making sure that your theme and the story being told to your visitors about the site is thematically relevant, and you know, your internal linking structure don't lie. And so when you match your internal linking structure to your offsite, linking structure. It's the very antithesis of over-optimization, at least as defined recently by Google.
Yeah, and yes, the other thing is the reason why we do this, and we broach different places to drive traffic. You see, with the promotional stuff, where we use the supporting keywords and we write our supporting stories, we are wanting to drive traffic from multiple places to our primary. And I've thrown this idea out a few days. What happens if Google disappears tomorrow? What if they shut their doors, they've had enough, and they shut it down? What happens to your business? What happens to your traffic?
Right.
Are you just getting traffic from Google, or are you getting traffic from the internet, the web?
Right.
And this is why we built DWS, because we want traffic from multiple sources, where Google is just one channel within our business that feeds us revenue and traffic. It's a great channel,
yeah.
but it's not the only channel. And we need to take advantage of everything around us. And by using this concentric approach, where at the epicenter of everything is our silo architecture site, and we're bolting traffic channels in like a snowflake all around to the center and feeding all the stuff down. Not only are we using a concise approach, but we're clearly defining our business message to the users and to the computers, the robot world, and everybody's getting the same story. And when they're landing, they're getting what they're looking for, because we understand what they want, we understand the words they're using, we understand how to deliver the service to them that they're looking for, and we're putting ourselves out in front of people where we are trying to attract more business to do business with us.
Yeah, and remember, guys, and gals, or gals on the call, that this whole backlinking over-optimization hype that went through that swarm through the SEO industry, which is exclusively SEO, which is kind of a dying art in some ways by itself, they're not matching the link backlinking with the traffic signals that are coming from social diversity. And that's really the tale of two Googles. That's what's happening right now. That's the psychic split on Google between social or personalized search on one tab up there in the upper right-hand corner and the other tab. And so we've integrated all that. In fact, we haven't rolled out with this, so I'll give you guys a sneak peek of all of of what's coming that Sue and I have been working on day and night with Matt. And basically, Google is moving, the whole internet actually is moving to a personalized broadcasting and publishing network. That you yourself will have to have a personal brand broadcasting and publishing network. And once you do that, it's going to be multi-channel and multimedia for you. And what we've done here with Domain Move Studio is to create you a central hub that allows you to develop your own personal brand broadcasting and publishing network. And that's a checkmate, like triple star checkmate. Because what's happening is you're getting all of the traffic, you're getting all of backlink, getting all the diversity, and more importantly, you're getting the human eyeballs that are socially syndicating and responding to your actual theme clusters and the products and services that you're actually selling. You can't really lose like that. So we're already like 3 years ahead of where we're trying to take you. And I know that there's a lot of stuff in this application. Matt, can we just go to the overview screen? Because we've been on this for quite a while. There's a lot of stuff on this. There's a lot of stuff on this application, but essentially what we're building, and you're going to be pretty blown away in the next version as well, is we're building a broadcasting room or a station for you to syndicate all of this, you or your client, everywhere, all the time, well-researched, well-syndicated right now through an entire network instantly, by broadcasting. I mean, just look at what happened. YouTube is connected to, Google Hangouts Live. People can broadcast at the speed of thought now, and it's a pretty young real-time broadcasting environment. But as the noise begins to increase through this entire network, you're going to be really glad that you're syndicating, outsourcing, you have your team on board, creating both your promotional plan and your content, and diversifying that content into multi-channel media. And so that's what you can be prepared for us to start releasing to you over the next several weeks and months. And all of the material is here. Like we have it in our membership area. You guys are on this call, and there's quite a few of you now. I want to thank you for your time, for being on the call. But you're going to see stuff over the next few weeks and months that just is mind-blowing. It's blowing my mind what Sue and Matt are creating here. I'm really excited because I know that we're going to last through that. Basically what we're building for you is sustainable and evergreen through the next 3 to 5 years. Like Matt said, if Google disappears tomorrow, it's not going to matter because our curation, our video curation, and our broadcasting methods are evergreen. We're actually moving with Google's requirements in the whole environment at this time.
Yeah, well, think about it this way, right? Remember I said to you in the beginning of the call, I said, guys, with DWS, we're dealing with two axes. We're dealing with the horizontal plane and we're dealing with the vertical plane. The horizontal plane is the process. This is what DWS is all about. This is the manufacturing line. This is from start to finish. It's taking us through a process. With the vertical plane, we're zooming in and we're zooming out. So as we zoom out, we look at the whole picture, but then we can zoom right into a granular level where we're actually dealing with a specific keyword. And when we look at DWS as a whole, what it's essentially doing, it's managing a massive data set of information which is virtually impossible to do on spreadsheets. You can't do it. It doesn't work. You cannot connect all the relationships that are involved by trying to do it through a spreadsheet.
Oh, here's a question for you. Here's a question for you, Matt.
Sure.
On the network overview screen, what is the limit to the number of websites that you can manage and empires that you can create with Domain Web Studio?
It's unlimited to the guys that are getting in now. In future releases, especially with the broadcasting stuff coming out of that, we will be tying that down because it's just getting ridiculously powerful, and we haven't decided on that yet, but at the moment it's unlimited. If you get in now, you get the unlimited version.
Can I see that? Can we go over to that empire screen again, the overview screen?
Yes.
Okay. Whenever you guys, just so you know what this caller was, or person was talking about. In this area, this is a rather small account, but you could have literally, I don't know how many empires that the screen could handle, but you know what they're basically asking is how many websites can you manage under certain clusters and projects.
The Empire screen is essentially your management console, and it depends on how you want to manage your stuff. So if you're doing client work, you can essentially create an empire for your client, and you could build their first website, then upsell them into the next rings, and you can stack the rings out underneath it. And then that way, within that empire, you have their whole entire network. It's all grouped and nicely contained. It's not scattered all over the place. If you're doing stuff for yourself, you could have PPC type websites that you build, or AdSense websites, or affiliate websites, and you can create empires around that and keep all your affiliate stuff in one place. So it depends how you want to function it, but the point being is you can have as many empires as you want with as many projects within an empire. Now, ideally, you don't want to create an empire for every single project that you do. You sort of want to cluster the things, because at the end of the day, we're building networks out. This is what we're doing. We're building broadcasting networks. And you've got to start thinking about that. It's not building networks like people did with backlinks and that, and there's nothing dodgy. We're building an infrastructure that when we broadcast something, it flies through the web at the speed of light. It just goes whoop everywhere. And this is what we're doing. So to answer your question, the guys who get in now, they get unlimited access to the amount of empires and sites within the empire.
Yeah, and it's pretty exciting stuff, folks. And you know, inside the members area, if you're not a member already, there's lots of maps, and we're refining these maps, including maps that deal with our upcoming partner sites, including wire services, you know, that we're partnered with. So you're going to be able to literally, both on your secondary WRS, your social rings, your secondary networks, and networks that you own, which is your own platform, self-hosted sites, you're going to be able to broadcast your content, diversified content, clustered, organized, siloed in SEO-optimized ways with multimedia, really, really quickly, all of it outsourced. Okay, here's a true confession. The reason that Sue and Matt and I designed this, we designed it for ourselves. And the whole purpose of this was to build networks and flip them, because we got kind of tired and bored of just flipping regular websites. So what it is that we're doing is we also have been watching Google develop social systems. As we watched Google put millions upon millions of dollars into Google Plus, and we watched the split personality kind of come out, where they split the personalized results, where your Google Plus markup tags and your author markup tags and all these things start having really unusual and weird relationships with what used to be a Google legacy search. And all of that connects on your Google/dashboard. We realized what was happening, so we started preparing for that almost a year ago. And so as a result, we've developed all this stuff, preparing for what's already here. And it's really, really cool, because if you combine the idea of a personal broadcast network or, for your client, a broadcast network, an SEO optimized multi-channel, multimedia broadcasting and publishing network, what you'll be able to do is you can, flip the content network if you want to, if you're an entrepreneur type, or you can, estimate the cost out for your client. And when you approach your client, like many of our certified agents have done, with these kinds of reports, you can just upsell them very easily into the next ring, into the next promotional tab, into the next process that Matt has shown you today, and all of a sudden you have a really nice stackable segue into greater, more and more checks. You can start adding zeros behind the checks as a consultant that you actually pull in. So these are the benefits. We're going to get a lot more into the benefits of how to use this, both from a client perspective. We're going to have webinars that are client-specific, only for those people who have clients. We're also going to have independent webinars where entrepreneurs and investor types who are actually building networks. And that's been really interesting because I had the pleasure of actually demonstrating and talking to an investor, somebody who's been in the tech field as an investor for a while with this stuff, and it was really mind-blowing to him. So hopefully this gets you guys primed for what we're doing. And our webinars are a little bit long as we start getting ramped up, but they're really worth the time. And Sue, you've been awful quiet, which usually means that you're
I've been typing.
You're up to some kind of evilness. So what's going on? Do you have anything to add? Do you have anything to...
I have a couple of questions, and one of them I want to go into a little bit of detail about.
Great. Appreciate it.
So one of the ladies asked, what about local? She deals mostly with local, and is Domain Web Studio useful for that format? And
that's your area for sure. We talked about that yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
We spent like 3 hours on this conversation yesterday.
Yeah, actually, at the moment we've got several local things going on just to make sure that we're on top of all the latest changes.
Yes, and by the way, shameless pitch, Sue Bell has a course called localsearchempire.com, and that's what we were talking about yesterday because we're adding a bunch more stuff to that. And Google Plus is starting to bleed over to that course as well. So go ahead, Sue.
So yeah, and it's actually that course that's going to help you figure out what it is that you want to do with Domain Web Studio, because in Domain Web Studio, Matt, can we just go to the beginning of the promotion and syndication area where you can put in the platforms, your own promotional platforms, and just have that open while I'm talking so we can reference that. So within Domain Web Studio already we have a huge number of promotional platforms that we have personally vetted, and I have a long list of more things that I want to add here within the next week or so. But up there at the top you can add your own promotional platforms on the right-hand side.
Yes.
And so when you're dealing with local customers, or at least when I'm dealing with local customers, I want to make sure that they get in the local directories, and each locale oftentimes has their own set of directories. So for example, I've got a yoga client at the moment, so there's all kinds of health and fitness directories that are just specific to the Arizona area, and I'm going to make sure that they get in all of those, and I don't actually want to go do it all myself. I want to outsource that. So I've got a list of the directories.
Right, and we're going to be adding those too.
Well, yeah, but the problem is since each locale is different, we've got a list in the local area. I have a huge list based on countries. So like there's local business directories from America, for Australia, for Canada, for England, some other countries in there. And you can just grab those and add those in there. But I would also encourage you to take a look on Google Local and see where your competitors have actually advertised. There's some folks out there on Fiverr.com that will do that kind of digging for you and come back with a list. And then you can just pop those right in here and get guys to go and add your directory listings for you, and then you've got your elevator pitch already involved there, and so that'll just be...
Oh, and I was going to ask you, what did you decide, Sue, on that thing you showed me like at 3 in the morning the other night? Like it was a one RSS feed directory. It was like a nuclear weapon. Just like you said, it was overkill.
Oh.
We'll add that to Search Empire, right?
Yeah, we will add that into the members area. I want to try it first. I don't believe in recommending stuff until I try it, but I'm going to try it with this client, and if it is what it promises to be, it looks like a really killer way to be able to outsource everything in one cheap bag.
I mean, folks, part of the way that we think is our whole one feed to rule them all system, and some of the partner sites that we're partnering with right now, they're called wire services, similar to OnlyWire, except some of the ones that we're partnering up with are even more powerful than that, and our relationship with them is direct. So we're always looking for those kinds of instant you everywhere all the time right now concepts, so we automatically attract that kind of stuff. So when Sue looks at local search or anything else, she's also looking for one-feed syndication systems through all the local directories, if possible, at least the general ones. So that's what she was kind of looking at the other night. And we haven't really tested it, but we're starting to vet a lot of services like that, which we'll be adding to localsearchempire.com. Does that make sense? All in favor say aye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sue,
know,
didn't mean to interrupt. I just got excited.
well, Sue mentioned also earlier on that she was doing another client. He does local, but he's also going national now. He's actually expanding his business. And Sue is managing over 2,000 keywords
Right.
in DWS. So it shows you the actual size of the blueprint that you actually can go into. And that's essentially a big site dealing with all the local stuff throughout in a specific sector.
Yeah, because he's got franchises in multiple cities, so that
Yeah.
it's definitely something you got to use DWS to manage, right?
Yeah, but it just shows that you can take anything from a local perspective and you can scale it. This is the whole point about the system, is it's scalable.
Right.
So he started off with X amount of cities and he's ramped up to 30 cities now. So he's actually grown it out as he's moved along. And all we've done is just knocked the nose in as they've carried it along. So we just come back to the project, bolt on another section, come back to the project, bolt on another section. So it's just moving with them as they're moving along.
Right. So Sue, if I'm to understand you correctly before I rudely interrupted you, is if you have like a local service, like, you know, for example, your yoga client, which is very local, it's an experiment for you.
Yeah.
You know, the directories associated with that are not going to be general directories that, you know, your hair salon or
Exactly.
So you're going to, the beauty of Domain List Studio is you can add these services unique to a specific project.
Exactly.
And unique to your own directory, and then somebody who might be familiar with that, like I've actually found on Fiverr and on Odesk, but on Fiverr, people who specifically add you to local directories that are genre related, like health or whatever. So
Right.
if you wanted to, you could be, you know, you decide which directories that you vet, and then you just add them, and then you just rinse and repeat.
Exactly.
Okay. Just
Exactly.
checking.
Yeah, and one of the questions that just came through was, is Local Search Empire part of the Network Empire? And it is part of the members area.
Yes. That is
It's
part of it
included.
when you purchase. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shameless
And
pitch.
yes, and another question was, is there a special theme that the export to WordPress for what it is we're doing? And what we have is a plugin that works with a whole bunch of themes.
SiloBlogBuilder.com.
Yeah, and I've tried several. I'm trying to remember if I actually posted on that page. I think I posted on that page. If not, I'll make a note to go do so right after the webinar. All of the themes that I've tried that work well with that I know work with the plugin. Most themes that I've tried do work. There's just you know, if you get into some really weird themes that
Freaky stuff.
yeah, like Pinterest style themes or themes that are doing some crazy stuff with the menus and some crazy stuff with the screens, then that doesn't work. Another question just popped up: is the Silo plugin free? And it's not. Somebody else developed it for us. We helped them. We worked with them to develop it, but it's actually their plugin, so we sell it for them. Let me just look up what the price is on this.
It's actually, yeah, go ahead, Matt.
$29 or something?
Well, let's make sure. It's a one-time fee for your account, and then that allows us to pay off our developer, and then you can use that.
It's unlimited as well.
Yeah, it's a license.
Yeah.
So then you're good to go, but it's really worth it. And we do have a list of plugins. The only time like Sue was saying, the only time I've had problems with it are, and I'm definitely not the master of the Silo Blog Builder plugin, but you know, if you're getting into any weird curation themes or Pinterest themes, there's some adjustments that you might need to make, and you might need to modify your silos by hand if you're doing really, really weird stuff. But most of the themes are working great, and we're actually start compiling a list of themes that are known compatible with our current plugin.
So I just pinged the link out to everybody for the Silo plugin because I'm getting several questions about it now that we're starting to talk about it. And
yeah, I've been testing them on the elegant themes, and they seem to be working fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, elegant themes are pretty solid. Any themes that allow for the custom menus, and even some of the themes that don't allow custom menus, it works, almost always on.
It's $19.95 for just the plugin.
Yeah.
And then it's $49.95. We put together a package that's got some other stuff with it, and on that sales page you can read about the Silo Empire kit, and it is unlimited and the license, and you will always get free updates.
Yeah, and one thing I just want to bring out, which I made a video on that page on siloblogbuilder.com, is that don't buy this if you don't have a Domain Web Studio membership. Okay, you can't use this plugin without Domain Web Studio. The sole purpose of it is to pull in all the keywords from the stuff that Matt's been showing you into the blog. I mean, it's literally useless. There is no manual function on the plugin at this time, although there is a blueprint and a spec to build one over the next year that allows you to do some basic manual stuff with it. But there's no way to use it without Domain Web Studio, so make sure that you have a Domain Web Studio membership if you're going to use the plugin.
Cool.
Okay. Anything else? How's the more questions? Anyone? It's been a kind of a long webinar, so. Anyone?
How much is the membership? So the Domain Web Studio membership is $147. You can get it at www.networkempire.com. And if you want to use the last keyword tool, if you're looking for an LSI-based keyword tool to use in conjunction with it, there's a bundle on that page, and you can get them both together for $197.
Yeah. I don't think that price is correct.
It might not be. I thought it was.
Can you look on that? No, it's $100 off, actually.
$197?
At least on the networkempire.com is the sales page, and you guys can just look at the prices there. I could be wrong, Sue, because I was just talking to someone this morning. Maybe I'm wrong.
$197 is the bundle price,
yeah.
and $147 is the Network Empire Domain Web Studio.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I keep seeing that when purchased separately, $247.
Ah.
So when I'm talking to people, I'm like, oh, geez. Wow, that's not working. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so there's your pricing. And folks, as we begin to install the broadcasting station and some top secret stuff that we're building and speccing out, the prices are obviously going to go up after, probably towards the later part of the summer as we move to other versions. As is this theme zoom way, we've always done this, theme zoom 1.0, we're always grandfathering people in. I don't really know what is our position on that now, Sue, as far as pricing? Have we come to any decisions on that? Are we using that method?
What we're going to do here eventually is evolve Domain Web Studio past the caterpillar stage.
Right.
And, I mean, I already think that it's getting past the caterpillar stage, but there's a couple of more major changes that we have coming down the pike. And when we do that, we're going to change the name to Network Empire, and the price will go up substantially. And so what we're going to do at that point is keep Domain Web Studio as a legacy product. And I don't mean to make it sound like there won't ever be any updates, but it just won't include the new things that get added on. So you guys will always be at that price. You'll be grandfathered in at that price, and we will keep you there, and it will be and you'll also always get the best possible deal on all of the upgrades.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and we are actually building more and more of an intimate community. There's people that have been with us through all of the changes, and all Matt coming on board, and Themes Zoom. There's people who've been with us all the way back when Themes Zoom 1.0 was like $19.95. I went through, just amazing, all the way up to Kraken being $1,000 a month, and so we have a strong community of users, and what we're seeking to do is really create. Should I say this, Sue? Talk about the network flipping? Yeah, I guess we should.
Sure.
We're ultimately building a community of entrepreneurs. It's way past SEO because, guys, gals, we really see SEO going the way. If you're viewing SEO as an isolated channel, as an isolated incident, as an isolated profession, you're hosed. Forget about it. Okay. If you're not moving into broadcasting and broadcast networks and publishing networks, and if you're not thinking a little bit bigger about your clients and about your own personal liquidity event as an entrepreneur. Even if you don't plan to become an entrepreneur or have a liquidity event, it's really, really helpful if you want to make more than like 3 figures a month with your clients to be thinking in terms of a liquidity event. Because it's just the way that networks are operating right now. And not to get crazy with language or anything, but it's really called cybernetics. It's where the human world and the technology world are interfacing. And Google is an example of that. With social media and search integrating, you have business objectives colliding with the old automated search objectives and spam and all that stuff. We're just moving into a world where you got to have some business sense. You got to realize that the web is for people, for traffic, and not just for SEO, and combine all of it with every single action that you do. So we've designed the system to make sure that you have a triple and quadruple touch for everything that you do. And boy, I mean, I thought it would be easier. I mean, I know I promised this like 2 years ago to you guys. I mean, Matt came on board and was like, let's go, go, go. And man, without Matt, it's just like, I mean, Sue really is the brains behind the joint over here. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm a neuromarketer, and I see the vision, and I help design and create ideas and integration. But it took 3 of us working full on to really, with all kinds of research and R&D and just to get this thing working. And now that we're here, we've got stabilized evergreen principles incorporated. And I'm really glad that we took the time to build a solid infrastructure that's going to withstand all of these changes, regardless of whether the Google patents even sustain, their original. I mean, remember, the original Google linking system was called Backrub. Way back at Stanford, and now it was all about people pointing to stuff. Your cool stuff was cool if other people thought it was cool, right? I mean, that hasn't changed that much. Now it's just like they have a lot more intricate ways of measuring whether they think it's cool or not. It's not rocket science, right?
And they're also just measuring a lot of different things, different media formats.
Yeah.
This is where it's changed. It's the format's changed. It's not what's changed, it's the format's changing.
Exactly, and there's a lot more requirements for multimedia. Anyway, so don't get me started, right? But I'm just really excited, and I want to thank everybody for being on this call. If you have any questions, my point is that we're building an intimate community of people. We realize that this application is not for everybody. It's like not a ClickBank product, and I get that. I mean, I had somebody who's known us for years and years with a major list of huge amounts of people, and he was just looking at our application, going, "This is just completely mind-blowing." And and I realized that this is not for my ClickBank list. I'm like, no, you're right. It's probably not. I mean, there's probably some people in there. But the point is that the networks are where the money is at, and we want to show you how to build that broadcasting and syndication, mass syndication network. Over the next few months and weeks, you're going to see some amazing features that we're going to be adding to help you syndicate with the one feed. We want you guys to be the first to be there with us as we enter into this new paradigm. So thank you so much for being here. Hey, you guys, you think we should wrap up, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just my last sentence. I know I spoke a lot tonight, and I do apologize, guys.
No, not at all.
It's just so much to try and relay out. I'm getting shorter and shorter with my presentations, but there's so much involved. But you know what? The truth of the matter is that DWS makes online easy again. It's taken the complexity out. I can build sites out literally in hours and have them published the next day, where before this would take time. And what I will be doing for all the guys in the community is I'm going to be building a video training for each screen as we go through a project from start to finish, showing how I talk about each process. There'll probably be about 2 or 3 little videos, 15, 20 minutes each, but I'll show you how to use the system to get the most out of it. And I'll just touch on some ways I think about things when I map these sites out, and this will help you get a solid foundation to get you started. Then as you move into the network empire area, you can actually expand on that, because everything we're doing for you is built on a stackable system. Our training, our software, everything's built around the process, and everything is stackable. So the knowledge stacks upon the knowledge. So as you learn more, there's going to be always more for you to grasp on and to read and to learn more, which you then can put back into the process and expand on your network. The software is the same. Everything's stackable. So this will be coming out literally in the next few weeks. We will have all this training in place for you guys on the system.
And here's a few other things and some closing arguments here from the shameless neuromarketer and the bunch. I want to say that the Cora system that I helped design, that we had the little mini Cora app that's being upgraded to Azure. Can I talk about that, Sue, or should I not say
Sure.
Okay. That's going to be integrated into this is the service that allows you to just pull questions and build your ISDNA, that is your questions, your frequently asked questions, and your painkillers in the market. That's going to be incorporated over the next several weeks here. It's already done. We're just incorporating the hooks. Can I say that, Sue? Is that right?
Yeah, it's just the final tweaks.
Okay, and I don't know what the ETA is on, so I'm not going to mention that, but it's not that far out. So we also have those of you who have spent quite a bit of time with this, you can probably imagine that certification events where you get certified by Matt, Sue, and myself is probably a great idea, especially if you want to work with clients right away. If you really want to rocket fuel your way through this so that you can just really get cranking. If you're the kind of person that likes, one-on-one training. We really don't do large groups. We've talked about doing large groups, and our next one may be larger groups, and we're setting that kind of thing up. I think we're planning events. So do contact us there's a, so where should they contact us for the certification stuff? That's
Let me shoot out a link. Hang on.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and put the link here. We have had requests, but you do need to get with us fairly soon if you want certification. Certification ain't cheap, but it's worth it. We've had people walking away and closing 5- and 6-figure deals within 2 to 3.5 weeks after attending our live certification events. So again, I just want to make that available to you. You do not have to do that in order to be successful in the system, obviously. I just want to make sure that I toss it out there.
Yeah, and that page talks about our 8-day event, which we're probably going to change to a 9-day event. But but the group classes that we're looking at doing would be 5-day events. So we've got a couple of different modalities coming in there. So if you're interested, go ahead and sign up to the list, and we'll keep you informed.
Yeah, and just basic coverage on that 9 days. It's super intense. It's boot camp. I mean, really boot camp. We cover everything from the perpetual lead magnet machine stackable business system to domain web studio times 1,000 to the one feed to rule them all to content curation, market syndication, Google++, all the stuff in all of our courses we cover and integrate in a single unified system. So that's just a little bit about that. All right, thank you very much. Hey, Sue, Matt, thank you so much for taking time out with us today from the programming and development of this. I really am grateful and appreciative of that. And thank you so much, everybody, for making this call. I wish your success more than anything, and that's what's been driving me for the last 5 years to stay on board with this project. It's been unbelievably transformational for me to stay this focused on something for this long. and I really want, it's because I want your success, and I only want to sell stuff that I myself use and that really inspires me to think a lot bigger than everyone else around me. By default, when you do that, your success is inevitable. It might take a little bit longer, but it's usually worth the time spent. So thank you all very much. This is Russell Wright, Sue Bell, and Matt Cruz from the NetworkEmpire.com team. We look forward to seeing you on the inside.